A game of chess is like a sword fight. You must think first, right? Before you move.
Hey, it's Galen from the Portland Chess Shop here to bring you a chess shoutcast. And we have a special treat this time because I got a new sweet digital chessboard from the Netherlands. It took me like a couple months to get it imported and everything. And with it, I can record the moves from my tournament. So I'm a tournament director and a tournament affiliate. And I run chess tournaments in Portland, Oregon, downtown at Portal Games, right? And so now I can use this digital chessboard to record the moves from the games in real time. So as you see, we have a game going on already. This is round 5, the final round of the chess tournament that I just held last Sunday. Is Bob Herrera, a strong expert from Oregon. He won the Centennial Open, the under 2000 section in 2011. He's 2044 rated, a very strong player. I've known him for a long time Coffee Time player. That's the local chess coffee shop. So that's Robert Herrera against Vij Radhakrishnan, who is a strong player, 1914 rated. And Vij is playing black. Both are playing a lot of tournaments at the Portland Chess Shop. It's really a lot of fun. So we saw that this was sort of like a dragon type structure that at least black played, but white started with c4 and went e3 and d4. So took the center, and now it's a little bit more of a Benoni type position. We see that d5 was achieved, and the c pawn has been traded for the e pawn, right? So the knight has gone up to b4, where it is in white space, but I could see it returning pretty quickly. And here's what looks to be a strong move: queen a4 check, forking the king and the knight. And so white might be up a piece already, which would be kind of wild. Bring the game to a quick close, I would think. But it looks like, the knight can't go back to c6. So black's already lost a piece. I introduced the players, and now it's kind of over. But we'll be able to see what makes of it if Vij can, have some strong defense, or if Bob can rally the forces and attack quickly. So the queen takes the knight, and so black really has to come up with something pretty remarkable to come back here. We see that the white king is still in the center, but it looks like his base is pretty safe. He has the 2 bishops, a lot of open lines, strong control of the center, and the 2 knights. So you really see, that Bob's opening took Vij off guard. Vij, is a really strong player, but he thought that he could go into this sort of dragon setup, and then, when d5 was played, because Bob went for an e3 d4 structure, which you don't see in a Sicilian type position, right? Because in a Sicilian play e4 on the first move, and then when you play d4, it gets exchanged for c5. So here, d4 did get exchanged for c5, but e3 took back on d4, which created a different type of structure and caught Vij off guard. And Vij then moved his knight to b4, where it was very vulnerable to a double attack. And the king is a really weak piece in chess. It's really important to concentrate on the king. As I've become stronger of a player over time, I've learned more about this truth in chess. The king, can only move 1 square at a time, but more importantly, if you lose the king, you lose the game, and thus you always have to respond to threats to your king. And so it's really easy as the attacking player to make double attacks, set up skewers, deflections, all different ways to exploit the king. So we see black is trying to do his best. He's rallied the rook to the half open f file where it bears down on c4, but the bishop on d3 is pretty strong, defending the c4 square. We see the king go to f8, which is kind of interesting. To guard d7, and so that square could become potentially overloaded. The bishop goes to f4, where it pins the e3 pawn. So a c5 could be possible, but c5 is currently defended 3 times by the pawn, the queen, and the rook. Well, I guess just the queen and the rook because the pawn is pinned, right? So that's the way the pins work. Is sometimes you think that it's defending, but really it's not. So Bob plays knight back. No, Vij plays knight back to d8, defending prophylactically against any threats that could be made against the e6 square. The bishop on b2, well, it says b2, but it's g7, is strong. That's a little confusing. I just realized that the whole notation is upside down. That's okay though. I hope you guys can still follow. I've been looking for a telestrator, which is the thing that John Madden does, where you can draw lines on the screen, and I just think that would be the best thing in chess. So I've been working on it. I'll keep working on it. Anyway, so we see that I think it's white to move, and white's sort of thinking here, saying, what do I want to do? How do I want to exploit black's weak position? So there's no, white's up a piece, but there's no immediate weaknesses other than that. And usually you want sort of two weaknesses because you can exploit the two weaknesses. You can attack one weakness, then attack the other, then go back to the first one. And so that can be really powerful. So if your opponent, has doubled pawns and is down a pawn or something, then you can use those two advantages to, attack the opponent's position. So the king on c1, really f8, is pretty weak there. The f7 pawn's only defended once. I would probably try to attack that weak f7 pawn, which looks like it's c2. So the queen goes to d7. All right, I'm going to use the backwards notation from now on. So the queen goes to d7, attacking that e7 square, which was actually not defended by anything, and thus black was forced to play d4, which seems really weak. Seems like his king is getting very exposed. Now white can take en passant here, and I'm pretty sure that he will, because it's going to open up a lot of lines, which could be really good. Taking en passant and then playing knight e4, for example, would attack the queen, open up lines, against the king. Yeah, here. So he opens up the center. I think he's going to put the knight on the outpost, attacking the queen, gaining tempo, and getting his forces closer to his opponent's king. You got to get that king, because when you get the king, the game ends, and that's, we go for checkmate. We play to win. So I think he's going to play. I think that move would be good. The bishop on f4 is strong. The knight on c5, and the knight on c6. He brings the knight up. Okay, the knight is attacking the bishop, because if the knight takes the bishop, then after pawn takes back, queen takes, and then the queen and the rook battery have really invaded. They're going to be attacking down the 7th rank, and they can, he can sack on what's b3 with the bishop and things like that to really get at that king immediately. So white can't really afford to let that knight take that bishop, but at the same time, if he moves the bishop, then the d2 square falls with check, and then the c2 square falls, almost definitely leading to checkmate. So he seems to be in a dire of perils here. He can't really move the bishop, but he can't leave it. What's he going to do in this situation? He's in a lot of trouble. Sure, he's sweating. So he moves the knight from d1 to f2 in order to defend the bishop, so that he could take back, so that there won't be these immediate attacking blows. So now white is probably going to bring another piece into the attack. It's really important when attacking to bring as many pieces as possible. And the idea is that your opponent has some weaknesses in their position, and that's why you're attacking. And so they won't be able to bring all their pieces to the defense, because you have a little bit more space, you have a little bit more mobility. You have just a few more squares, and you take advantage of those with your gain in territory to just really exploit your opponent's position. So I think white's calculating, how am I going to try to finish my opponent off? How am I going to invade? He knows that he's up a piece, right? 6, yeah, full piece. And it's just about bringing his pieces into the attack to finish off his opponent. I like how Bob Herrera as white in this position doesn't really, he's like attacking, and it's clearly like getting at his opponent's king, but at the same time he's not really like creating weaknesses. He's not like creating opportunities that his opponents could play off of. Because Bob is sort of a prophylactic strong player. You see, for example, that the queen on d7 is guarding the pawn on g7 that's attacked by his opponent's queen. So he's sort of like attacking with that queen, or definitely attacking with that queen, but also at the same time keeping an eye on his own outposts, making sure that nothing deteriorates. He doesn't have to risk very much because his position is so good. He's up a full piece. He has basically inevitability on his side. Knight e4 is played as I expected, attacking the queen, and if the bishop or the knight takes, there's going to be some hell to pay, because if the bishop takes, then the queen checks on d2 immediately and then takes on c2, and if the knight takes, then you take the bishop with check, pawn takes back on d3, then queen takes back, and the king is like in a lot of trouble in both circumstances. In one case, you're losing a pawn, in the other case, you're just giving up a lot of squares around your king, and with the pawn on e3 there, that's sort of blockading the black queen from defending its own pieces on the d3 square. So the queen is like out of the mix. The rooks aren't really that useful in the 8th rank. They're not even like really attacking anything. The rook on h1, for example, is just defending its own pawn on h5, and that pawn doesn't even seem to be doing very much. So this is really a key moment for Vij in his attempt to defend the position. He probably will move the queen, I think, because if he doesn't, if he takes the knight, I think it leads to pretty much an immediate checkmate. But moving the queen can be attacked again. I'm not sure that the queen, is doing very much. Like on c6, for example, like it just opens up opportunities for c5. But the queen on g3 is also the only piece defending the e3 square, the e3 pawn that would fall with check, which could be really devastating too. So he's in quite a position. Go Bob Herrera. So, 5th round, the championship round. Oh, so I'll give you a little bit more about the tournament. So there was a player named Yogi Saputra, and he's 1424 provisionally rated, I think. And he played really strong in this game. He beat Vij in the first round as black. Then he played white. He played Scott Levin and beat him with white. And then he played Dennis Hoffler, who was the highest rated player in the tournament at 2070. And he played him with black, and he beat him. And then as he played white, he played Bob Herrera, right? Yeah, he played Bob Herrera in the 4th round and drew him. And so both Bob